Hey guys, Marsingin here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to talk about some ideas for who we could expect to see for the Part 2 LR for Golden Week. Hopefully we should be finding out very soon. Potentially we might even find out within like 12 hours of this video going up, for all I know. But I said I was going to make this video. I've heard some suggestions from a bunch of you guys out there, whether it's on Twitter or whether it's in the comment section of some of my other videos. So I wanted to go for some of the options that I think are potentially likely. Obviously they vary in how likely I think they could be, but I have decided to only really include options that I think are somewhat relevant to the theme, right? Because we have seen in the past with mini celebrations, like especially most recently with JP, where we had the Dokkan Fest exclusive Kale, and then the Part 2 LR was Super Boo, so obviously the two are just basically not related at all. However, in Golden Week, in big celebration like this, we usually have the whole thing related to the same theme, right? Like, if we take last year as an example, obviously the Part 2 LR was the Tech, Goku and Gohan. So even though it was sort of a what-if unit, it was still obviously very much themed around like the end of the Cell games and everything, right? So I've tried to take into account characters that are in somewhat relation to the World Tournament theme, or whether it's, you know, the World Tournament at the end of Dragon Ball, like the two new units, the 23rd World Tournament, or if it's even from points earlier than that, even just somewhat relating to Dragon Ball Saga, or even relating to just other World Tournaments from later on. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. What would you like to see as the Part 2 LR? If there's any ideas that you guys have that I don't mention in this video, obviously feel free to let us know down below in the comment section. And if there's any units or ideas that I mentioned in this video that you hadn't thought of, that you thought might be pretty cool, let me know what you think down below. So one of the big ones that I know people are hoping for is Demon King Piccolo. So we have the LR, who starts off as the Elder version and then transforms. So having one with just the straight up Demon King Piccolo name would obviously be very, very good. I would quite like this guy to get an easy A, this STR one that I'm showing on the screen, but I brought him up just as the example, right? So him getting a Part 2 LR obviously would be a huge buff for the Int Piccolo Jr. as well as the Namekians team in general. Making him like a support unit or something would be very, very strong for that team. I did make a separate video about the fact that I am hoping, or at least predicting, that the Part 2 LR banner is going to be a Carnival LR. So obviously that means that the unit is going to have a full 200% leader skill. So he could end up being like a Namekian's 200% leader, which I think would be pretty cool. Obviously if we look at the categories that he is on, there's a couple of other options for things that could be pretty cool for him. Gifted Warriors would be a cool one with a 200% leader skill. Battle of Fate obviously has received, with the two new units having it as their extra 30%, obviously has a couple of interesting options for a 200%. Terrifying Conquerors would be kind of crazy with a 200% lead, with how many good units are on there. Dragon Ball Saga I think is less likely because obviously the two new units don't count as being on there. But regardless of the leader skill, I do think Demon King Piccolo would be a very good choice. And one of the things that I've seen people mention quite a few times, actually, quite a few different people. Obviously we already have Piccolo Jr. as the Part 1 unit, but because last year was a what-if unit with like the father-son Kamehameha versus Cell, I've seen a lot of people saying they would like to see the Part 2 LR be a what-if style unit of like father-son special beam cannon with Demon King Piccolo and Piccolo Jr., which, I mean, it doesn't make anywhere near as much sense as the father-son Kamehameha, because obviously Piccolo Jr., especially grown up like this, never even existed at the same time as Demon King Piccolo. Whereas, you know, the Goku Gohan what if is pretty much just a case of like, what if Goku didn't get blown up by Cell, right, and just kind of helps Gohan at the end to defeat Cell. Whereas this one is almost like a full time skip difference, right, between these two characters. But I do still think it would be very cool, right? I mean, if we're going to do what if cards, then realistically, like, nothing is off the table. So I do think that would be pretty cool. Obviously, they'd have a very good link set to pair up with the actual Piccolo Jr. if that was the case as well. So I do think that is a very interesting option. I think it would be cool because they haven't really done any big one. I don't think they've done one at all since last year's Golden Week. I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but I think it would be really cool if they just made the Part 2 Golden Week LR every year going forward, like some kind of random what if unit. I think that would be really cool personally, but I've always been a big fan of that kind of stuff. That's why I really like Heroes. Just seeing characters get forms that they didn't get and, like, you know, pair-ups that we didn't get, I think is a really cool idea for Dokkan. So I would like to see that. Next up, as a contender, we have Hercule. So I thought this would be kind of interesting, right? Because obviously, Hercule is one of the characters, when it comes to Z, who is probably most associated with the World Tournament, right? He's the World Champion, at least in terms of normal humans that don't know how to use Ki and stuff. He is supposed to be, you know, pretty good. Of course, when it comes to any of the humans who are even close to being like the main characters like Krillin, Yamcha, etc., would absolutely destroy him. But, you know, he's always been there as kind of a comic relief character. And hey, at the end of the day, at the end of the Buu Saga, he does help to save the world. So it would be pretty interesting to see him get another unit. Obviously, his LR that exists already is like the him and Buu. From the Buu Saga, but it'd be kind of cool if it was just the actual like World Tournament champion, Mr. Satan. Have him with his cloak here with the big high collar. Have him, like, you know, in the art, have the actual like World Championship title belt and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool. Make him like a World Tournament 200% lead, for example. Give him a decent amount of support so he could be good on the Goku team. I think he could be a very interesting option. His links kind of suck, but he'd be pretty cool. And going into that sort of what if territory again, we've already seen like a couple of Hercule and Buu units in the game. It'd be kind of cool, I think, to get a Hercule and Videl unit. I think that would be quite cool. They obviously share some links the same. They're on a bunch of the same categories like Earthlings, Earthbred Fighters. This Videl obviously isn't, but you'd assume the what if card would be like on World Tournament. I think that would be pretty cool, right? Having a Hercule and Videl card. I think that would be a cool one. So that's another interesting one I think we could get if we just lean in more to the actual World Tournament theme. So let me know what you think about that one. And then, of course, one big one that I've seen people talk about is not so much a standalone Master Roshi, although I definitely do think that could be an option. But a big one that people have been wanting to see for a long, long time, because it was on that very old, you know, LR election thing from a few years back, is getting a Master Roshi, Kid Goku, and Kid Krillin, like, all together, like the Turtle School LR. I think that would be sick. Now, if we're talking leader skill wise, because like, again, assuming that we're just working off the assumption they're going to be a Carnival LR. They might not be, obviously, but I don't think they would get a Turtle School 200% lead because the Part 2 Anniversary LR, the AGL based Goku, has 200% Turtle School. But I mean, they could easily have like Bond of Master and Disciple is the Part 2 Gohan, so Kamehameha maybe. I mean, I guess it could be World Tournament. Battle of Wits, the Krillin and Roshi are on. The Kid Gokus aren't, but there are some Gokus that are on Battle of Wits, so that'd be interesting. Although, I think Battle of Wits is the STR Carnival Gokus, 200% lead. So we actually are kind of running out of potential 200% leads they could have. But Kamehameha would actually be a pretty good one. But I don't really care about the leader skill, right? These three together as an LR. With there's quite a few cool bits of art out there of Roshi and Kid Goku and Kid Krillin all together, so I think that would make a very, very popular choice for the Part 2 LR. I think, honestly, out of all the ones that we've mentioned so far, I think a Roshi, Kid Goku and Kid Krillin probably would be the most popular choice, right? I think that would be very successful. So having these three together on a card as the Part 2 LR, all doing like a, you know, 3-man Kamehameha as their 18 key super or active skill or whatever, I think would be very cool and very, very fun. I mean, I guess they could have Earthbred Fighters as the lead as well. That would become such an insane category with just a full-on 200% lead, but very, very cool. Another thing I've seen people talk about quite a lot, if we go back to the actual 23rd World Tournament itself, is the potential for a Chichi I think an LR Chichi would be pretty cool, right? The 23rd World Tournament, she does fight Goku. Obviously, there's not like a huge amount of material for super attacks for her, but I mean, we have Chi-Chis in the game. They can improvise when it comes to animations. But if you look at this one, the STR one, she is a ridiculously good support unit for a Peppy Gals team. So if you were to create another version of her, but make her just a really good support unit for whatever team she's going to end up being like the lead for, right? Goku family, again, she could be World Tournament, Earthlings, Earthbred Fighters. Imagine she was like a crazy Earthbred Fighters like support. Bond of Parent and Child as well. Like, if she was a really good Bond of Parent and Child support unit, she would see play on a lot of teams, right? So I think a Part 2 LR Chi-Chi would certainly be interesting. I don't know if that would be a super hype pick for a lot of people, but I do also feel like if the animations were good and the card was really good, I think it's not a character that people would be super disappointed with. Although I do think it's definitely on the lower likelihood of the potential options. And then last but not least, I thought this would be quite an interesting pick, is a Kami. Because, you know, Namekians has gotten a lot of buffs recently, but the team does still need a couple more, like, uniquely named units that are good. And this is, like, as far as I know, the only playable Kami unit in the game from the DB Saga banner, and is a support unit. So I feel like something like this, but just a modern day version, right? Just a Kami who is a really good support unit, would make really good use on the Namekian team, but then is on like Realm of Gods, which you can always do with extra support units. Gifted Warriors, Heavenly Events is a category that could always get some good buffs. And of course, he's on Earthbred Fighters as well. So this guy, if they brought out Part 2 LR Kami and made him a really good support unit, I think he could certainly be an interesting addition to the game as well. So there's quite a few different options. Obviously, these aren't the only ones. I'm sure there are other ones out there that could be interesting or even completely feasible. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Let me know, out of the ones that we mentioned, which one do you think would be the most likely, or which one would you like to see the most? And let me know your ideas on who you think the Part 2 LR could be down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.